this tutorial, you use Visual Studio to create and run a C# console app, and explore some features of the Visual Studio Integrated Development Environment, IDE. This tutorial is part 1 of a 2-part tutorial series. In this tutorial, you complete the following tasks. Create a Visual Studio project, create a C# console app, debug your app, close your app, inspect your complete code. In part 2, you extend this app to add more projects, learn debugging tricks, and reference third-party packages. Prerequisites. You must have Visual Studio installed. If you haven't already installed Visual Studio, go to the Visual Studio downloads. Pagito install it for free. Create a project. To start, create a C# application project. The project type comes with all the template files you need. 1. Open Visual Studio, and select Create a New Project in the Start window. 2. In the Create a New Project window, select all languages, and then choose C# from the drop-down list. Choose Windows from Field Platforms list, and choose Console from Field Project Types list. After you apply the language, platform, and project type filters, choose the console of template, and then select Next. Point 7. Note: if you don't see the console of template, select Install More Tools and Features. In the Visual Studio installer, select The.NET Desktop Development Workload. Select Modify in the Visual Studio installer. You might be prompted to save your work. Select Continue to install the workload. Return to step 2 in this create a project procedure. Point 3. In the configure your new project window, type or enter calculator in the project name box, and then select Next. 4. In the additional information window, select .NET 8.0 for the target framework field. Then, select Create. Ritalin. Debug mode. After the application runs in the debugger, the console window stays open.
Debugger.
Press any key to close the console window. 7. Note: starting with .NET 6, new projects using the console template generate different code than previous versions. To learn more, see the top new C# templates generate page. Create the app. In this section, you complete the following tasks. Explore some basic integer math in C#. Add code to create a basic calculator app. Debug the app to find and fix errors. Refine the code to make it more efficient. Explore integer math. Start with some basic integer math in C#. 1. In Solution Explorer, in the right pane, select Program.xcode. Display the file in P-Code Editor. 2. In the code editor, replace the default Hello World code that says console.ritalin. Hello World.
Ritalin.
Replace the line with the following code.
Jeez, I need a Ritalin shot, bro. I just heard my shingles pop up. Int B equals 119.
Console.ritalin. C. Console.read key. If you enter the code, the Visual Studio IntelliSense feature offers you the option to auto-complete the entry. 3. To build and run your app, press F5. Or select the green arrow next to the name calculator in the top toolbar. A console window opens that shows the sum of 42 plus 119, which is 161.4. Close the console window. Point 5. Optionally, you can change the operator to change the result. For example, you can change the plus operator in 9C equals A plus B, line of code 2 for subtraction, asterisk for multiplication, or slash for division. When you run the app, the result changes accordingly.
Now I have my window open.
Add code to create a calculator. 1. In the code editor,
Now I can hear the outdoors, which is bad. When you live near I-95, you can hear everything.
Declare variables and then initialize to 0. Intnum1 equals 0. Intnum2 equals 0 / display title as the C# console calculator app. Console.ritalin. Console calculator in C# \r. Console.ritalin. -- \n / ask the user to type the first number. Console.ritalin. Type a number, and then press enter. Number 1 equals convert. To int32. Console.read line / ask the user to type the second number. Console.ritalin. Type another number, and then press enter. Number 2 equals convert dot to int32, console.readline, / ask the user to choose an option dot console.readline, choose an option from the following list, console.readline, / ta, add,
Ta.
console.readline,
That's a new one.
/ ts, subtract, console.readline,
TSS, multiply.
tm,
See, you learn something new just by listening.
console.readline, / td, divide, console.write, your option, / use a switch statement to do the math dot switch,
How do you think I passed engineering? Oh, simple. I was too cheap to fail. Plus, I showed up every day and I wrote down every single thing the instructor said. The other people, they were stupid. They didn't even write it down because when you show up for class, the instructor explains it to you. They say this is going to be on the test. Write it down.
Your result number 1 / number 2 equals plus number 1 / number 2 break / wait for the user to respond before closing .console.write. Press any key to close the calculator console.read key. 2. Select the calculator button or press F5 to run your app. A console window opens. 3. In the console window, follow the prompts to add the numbers 42 and 119 together. Your app should look similar to the following screenshot. Add decimal functionality. Now, tweak the code to add more functionality. The current calculator app only accepts and returns whole numbers. For example, if you run the app and divide the number 42 by the number 119, your result is 0, which isn't except. To fix the code to improve precision by handling decimals. 1. From program.x in the Visual Studio Editor, press Ctrl plus to open the find and replace control.
Looks like I'm trying to hang myself.
And type float in the replace.
I'm trying to block the smoke coming through that door.
Match whole word in the control. Or press Alt
See, I use a white rope.
W.4. Select their place icon.
It's just a clothesline with clothespins.
And replace 0.5. Run
I'm using it to block
again.
smoke.
And divide the number 42 by the number 119. The app now returns a decimal number instead of 0. Now the app can produce decimal results. Make a few more tweaks to the code. Sub-app can calculate decimals. 2.6. Use the find and replace control to change each instance of the float variable to double, and to change each instance of the convert to int32 method to convert to double. 7. Run your calculator app, and divide the number 42.5 by the number 119.75. The app now accepts decimal values, and returns a longer decimal numeral as its result. In their Vice the code section, you reduce the number of decimal places in their cells.
You remember when you said twerk?
Debug the app. For more information about the debugger and how it works, see first look at the Visual Studio
Read
debugger.
key.
First look at the fix the divide by 0 error. Let's change the code to handle this error. In program.cs, replace the code for case D with the following code. Console.readline. Enter a non-zero divisor.
I used to take off my shirt to go
Number
diving.
2 equals convert.
I used to have one of those chamois cloths. Just throw it on the ground.
Console.readline. Your result.
Now I have four jackets. All winter coats.
Number 2 equals.
How many did I buy?
Plus number 1 / number 2 break.
1.
After you replace the code, the section with the
2.
switch statement should look similar to
I didn't buy this
screenshot.
going to use it temporarily.
Fix the format error.
I didn't buy that one. I'm going to use it temporarily.
When the app expects a numeric character, the app freezes. Visual Studio shows you what's wrong in the code editor. To prevent this exception, you can refactor the code you previously entered.
How many hats do I
Revise
have?
the code. Rather than
That's a
rely
good
on
question,
the program
right?
class to handle
I
all
bought
the code,
this.
you can divide your
Gotta
app
make
into
it
2
myself.
classes: calculator and program.
That's one of them.
The calculator
I have
class
another
handles
one on
the
my
bulk of
bed.
the calculation
Two of them I
work,
made it
and the
myself.
programmer class handles the
I have
user
3 of
interface
them.
and error
3
handling
goes
work.
there. Bought it.
Let's get started.
4 over there on the
1.
hockey
In
stick.
program.cs.
Bought it.
Delete
5 in
everything
here.
and add the following new
Bought
calculator
it.
class. C
6 in
class
here.
calculator
Bought it, but I
static
don't want to
double
wear
num
it because it has the
operation.
wrong symbol
Double
on
num 1
there.
double num 2 string double result equals double dot nan / default value is not a number if an operation, such as division, could result in an error / use a switch statement to do the math. Switch op case A result equals number 1 plus number 2.
What do people do when the internet's down?
Case S result equals number 1.
You got to be kidding me, right? These people did virtual learning, learn from home, snow days, now they have to go to school. They're playing, what? The federal workforce has to go back to work? I showed up every single day. I never worked from home when I worked for the federal government.
Option entry default break return result 2. Also add a new programmer class as follows. See hashtag class programs.
Of course, that's not entirely true. I had to go on government travel, which was horrendous. You had to get in a plane with other people. Sucked.
Console calculator
I rode a submarine.
Console.ritalin
I rode
\n
back on a hell ride submarine and app.
Variables and set to empty / use nullable types with to match type of system. Console.read line a string number input 1 equals string number input 2 equals double result equals 0 /
What do you say?
ask the user to
I'm not paying attention. They're not at the good part yet. This num into. That's why I named the whole.
Number input 1 equals console.
That's why it says on my thing, Mike the Fool with a guitar, with the first letter of each name is based on this paradigm.
Please enter an integer value. Number input 1 equals console.read line / ask the user to type the second number. Console.write type another number and then press enter.
Hey, I wonder why I'm taking all this, right? So, stay alive for a little bit. When you almost die, you realize you might need this. Most of it's vitamins, though. Most of it's water.
This is not valid input. Please enter an integer value. Number input 2 equals console.read line / ask the user to choose an operator. Console.ritalin choose an operator from the following list. Console.ritalin \talk add console.ritalin \ts subtract console.ritalin \tm multiply console.ritalin \td divide console.write your option string op equals console.read line / validate input is not null and matches the pattern if op equals null regex is match op asmd console.ritalin error unrecognized input else try result equals calculator. Do operation clean number 1 clean number 2 op if double dot is nan result console.ritalin this operation will result in a mathematical error \n else console.ritalin your result 0:0 ## n result catch exception e console.ritalin oh no an exception occurred trying to do the math \n details plus e message console.ritalin -- wait for the user to respond before closing. Console.write press N and enter to close the app or press any other key and enter to continue if console.read line equals n app equals true console.ritalin \n / friendly line spacing return note it's best to use nullable types with the symbol for the input strings since system.console.read line returns a nullable reference type .3. Select the calculator button or press F5 to run your app. 4. Follow the prompts and divide the number 42 by the number 119. Your results should look similar to the following screenshot 7. You can now run more calculations until you choose to close the console app. There are also fewer decimal places in the results. And if you enter an incorrect character, you get an appropriate error response. Close the app. 1. If you haven't already done so, close the calculator app. 2. Close the output pane in Visual Studio. 3. In Visual Studio, press Ctrl + to save your app. Add Git source control. Now that you have an application, You might want to add it to a Git repository. Visual Studio makes that process easy with Git tools you can use directly from the IDE. Tip: Git is the most widely used modern version control system. Whether you're a professional developer or you're learning how to code, Git can be very useful. If I renew to Git, git.scm.com/. Website is a good place to start. You can find cheat sheets, a popular online book, and Git basics videos. To associate your code with
Here a
Git,
cheat sheet is,
start
right?
by creating a new Git repository where your code is located.
Remember when they were cheating in Harvard School? And all those rich people were, what was his name, Lori Loughlin?
And then select
in disgrace. Nobody cares. That's what rich people do. That's what the stars are supposed to do. You think she... Remember the Family Guy? What was his name? With the twins? He killed himself. Or he was murdered or something.
It's best to have a remote backup of your code stored securely on GitHub. Even if you aren't working with Atom, a remote repository makes your code available to you from any computer. Select Create and Push. After you create your repository, you see status details in the status bar. Use Git Actions in Visual Studio. Here's a brief summary of Git Actions available in the Visual Studio status bar.
Damn. Somebody got to argue with Mike when he's doing Visual Studio, and all they're going to say, oh, he's a geek. I named it Mike the Fool with a guitar. Capital M, capital T, capital F, capital W, capital A, lowercase guitar, graphical user interface.
You can select this icon to view those changes in the Git Changes window. The Git menu provides tools for repository actions on your files. You can pull, push, and sync for version control in Visual Studio's Git Fetch. To learn more about how to use Git with your app, see the documentation Visual Studio version control.
How do they make commercials to make people laugh?
Code complete.
They don't make news to make people laugh. They get up and they get angry and say, oh, geez, I'm a real knuckle dragger. I used to do push-ups on the concrete and make my knuckles bloody.
Here's the complete code, all in one
Try and
place.
do knuckle push-ups.
C# class calculator public static double do operation.
Oh, I forgot the boys do this with the chair thing. I've been doing this forever.
String up.
Do operation.
Result equals double dot.
Result equals num and num and num and num.
Value is not a number which we use if an operation, such as division, could result in an
Don't forget
error.
the baby boomers.
/
Control
use a switch
all the
statement
economy.
to the mat. Switch up. Case A. Result equals number 1 plus number 2.
What do you think is going to happen
Break.
after
Case
the people
S.
from
Result
1964
equals number
die?
1. Number 2. Break. Case M. Result equals number 1 asterisk number 2.
It's a good
Break.
question, boy
Case
and
B.
girl.
/
Does anybody from
ask the user to
1964
enter a
say,
non-zero device.
oh, no, I'm 61 years old.
Number 2
64,
equals
61.
0.
You don't get it,
Result
right?
equals number 1 / number 2. Break. / return text for an
So all the
incorrect
people
option
from
entered.
1955 when they were
Default.
born.
Break. Return result. Class program static void main.
Even worse, the people
String
from
args.
1966
equals false.
know for a fact
/
they have
display title as the
966
C# console
as
calculator.
their birth year, so they
Console
know
dot
they're the
Ritalin.
devil.
Console calculator in C# / R. Console dot Ritalin. -- \n. While and f /
You wonder
declare
why
variables and
some
set
dude
to
named Mike for the Guns N'
/
Roses
/
band,
use nullable
they're all
types
Mikes.
with
His name is Slash, right?
/readline string. Number input
But his
1
real
equals
name is
string.
Mike.
Number input
But
2 equals double result
I'm
equals
in
0.
the order.
/ ask
I always
user
thought
to
I was
type
right
the first
below.
number. Console.write.
I'm right below either
the
Grohl
number,
or Slash. I'm
press
right
enter.
in between the two of them.
Number input 1
Somewhere
equals
along that line, I'm
console.readline.
right in between the two
Double.
of those. One dude's
Clean
name is
number 1
Grohl.
equals
The other dude's name is
0.
basically Slash.
While. Double.
While double
Dot
loop.
try parse.
Now we're in the loops.
Number input 1.
While
Dot.
do this.
Clean number 1. Console.write. This is not valid input. Please enter an integer value. Number input 1 equals
And all of a sudden,
console.readline.
Coldplay.
/ ask
You know,
user
I
to
met the
type
guy. I
second
met
number.
famous people.
Console.write. Type another number.
We all do.
And then press enter.
Not everybody.
Number input 2 equals console.read line. Double.
Double.
Clean number 2
I used to do doubles all the time.
0.
You think Slash could do a double?
Double. Dot try parse.
You think Grohl can do a double off a diving board?
Clean number 2. Console.write. This is not valid input. Please enter an integer value. Number input 2 equals console.read line. / ask the user to choose an operator. Console.read align. Choose an operator from the following list. Console.read align. /top at.
I'll tell you one more story.
Console.read
There's
align.
a local person over here. I already know. I already know I'm a local hero for some of these people
Console.read align.
over here, right?
/tm.
I didn't want anybody to know about me.
Console.read align.
She comes up to me one day. Says, "Oh, my name's Barb over here." I didn't know what a true game was.
String. Op equals console.read line.
Comes up to me and says,
//
"What's your name?" I'm like, "My name is Mike, but I was doing it for a reason." She says, "Oh, I'm Barb."
Null. Regex.
Short for Barbara. And then she looks and says rejects, and that's a sophisticated term. She says to me, "Mike, can you help me scare the geese away?" I'm like, "Sure. I do it in this all the time. I want to watch this when I do this."
Clean number 1. Clean number
Sure enough,
2.
I didn't know what she was protecting.
Catch. Exception. Console.read align. Oh no. An exception occurred trying to do the math /n. Details. Plus dot message. Console.read align. -- /n. / wait for the user to respond before closing. Console.write. Press N and enter to close the app, or press any other key and enter to continue. If console.read line equals end app equals.
She's protecting her husband.
True. Console.read
Sad, but true.
/n.
The other next door neighbor next to her,
friendly line spacing.
that's a friendly for me.
Return.
That next door neighbor next to her over here.
Continue with the second part of this tutorial.
Next step, second
Tutorial part 2. Extend and debug your C# console app.
Debug it. Blow your nose.
Was this page helpful?
Yes or no? Ask
Yes.
the community.
No. Tutorial. Extend C#